Them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power. Over Naira. See them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, my ego don't come. So my people make you lie down. Yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego die the political. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we not talk. But thank God say, my egun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh, yo, yo, my egun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout. Oh, yo, yo, my egun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My egun don't come, man of the masses.
Hello there.
Mayegun la wa mo la mo dododo.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun la wa mo la mo dododo.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are watching from. Please, share this broadcast. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them, Mayegun today.
Diary political.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Godfatherism.
Tonight, we are going to give an update on the justice for Mohbad, especially those who are interested in real justice and they will love what is the updates from everyone's perspective, starting with the police. Share the broadcast. Peter Obi has also rejected the offer of Atiku to join him and then, fight Tifnumbu so that they can save the image of Nigeria. No, you would have to do yours your way. We'll do it our way. Or you would have to forfeit yours and join us all tonight.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun today.
And yes, we like.
Mayegun today.
For Baba Bewure.
Mayegun mami.
And yes, we like.
Mayegun.
Tifnumbu and his own apologists, they are currently on a roll in their own efforts of deflecting the certificate forgery and the consequences. But for Tifnumbu himself, he has maintained a grave silence until this will blow over. So they wish. Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and the nurse that injected Mohbad have all been indicted in his death. It's inconclusive, their investigation, but they have a substantial evidence in their, in their involvement in Mohbad's death. I'm going to tell you that tonight. And yes, to remember, share this broadcast, okay? Invite those you think should be here, right? You can copy the link and then share them on different platforms as well. then read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description as well before you finally settle down. Like the broadcast. So easy. We are going to start soon.
And yes, right. Presido Barusio. And yes, right. Igoni Nangowoje. And yes, right. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí pa. And yes, right.
There may be distraction about certificate forgery and the consequences upon that. Nigeria is still sinking, even worse than we predicted. So, good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live, and I bet you have done all of the needful, rather. You have liked the broadcast, you've shared it, you've also get yourself in tune into what we are about to delve into by reading the description of the broadcast. And to those who have done all of that, thank you. Now we're going to take it one after the other. The first part is going to be the police updates on the death of Mohbad. Now, why are we talking about Mohbad on Mayegun's Diary Politico? For those who are probably just seeing us talk about this for the first time, this is why. Nigeria is a crime scene, and there is a conglomeration of different criminals who are working on different fronts, and at the end of the day, all of them linked to one source, APC. Egbekegbe. We realized that the characters involved in the bullying as well as the effort in covering up the death of Mohbad, as that hit the airwaves at the time, we realized that these are guys who have very strong tie, not just to APC, Egbekegbe, but to Tifnumbu, right at the time that the same Tifnumbu used these same thugs in disrupting and compromising electoral process that has plunged Nigeria into this political quagmire. Their role is so substantial that when their crime or their involvement were made public, a lot of us dug deeper. And our conclusion then was, he will never get justice because of those involved. Around that time, Nigeria has become so terribly managed, right? That criminals are those who are manning responsible, or powerful institutions who were supposed to be in position to stop these criminals from attaining such powers that they have today. These institutions have been so compromised that Nigerians have learned to live with it. Once you have anybody that has connection to this and that in APC, Egbekegbe, just leave it. They walk around it, and at the end of the day, they will bury it. A good example is that of Abba Kyari. Abba Kyari happened to be a criminal, a criminal underworld gang leader. He is also, in real life, appeared to be a super cop. When the FBI came for him, it was then the Nigeria criminal system plotted what happened next. The United States of America were, asking for his extraction back to the United States, where a jail term of 22 years awaiting him. But this is a guy that has been fingered in human trafficking, organ trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, robbery, and so many other crimes that he was actually was empowered to stop. These old allegations, they didn't move any of those establishments in Nigeria. They shielded him. He became, an Instagram celebrated cop until that FBI case came. That was when the establishments in Nigeria were interested in him. Because people said if he was to be extradited to America, that the guy could probably open a can of worms on the crime he's managed to help those criminals in power in Nigeria to cover up, and the people they've killed for them. So they designed a sort of a crime. They said, oh, he was caught trying to resell, evidence from a drug bust that could have fetched him hundreds of thousands of US dollars. Therefore, that case would not make it possible for them to let the FBI take him. This was in 2022. FBI requested for him since July 2021. The establishment created that in a way for the whole thing to blow out. And at the end of the day, the NDLEA, we said, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. We made a mistake. And it will be reinstated. That is the kind of system you have in Nigeria. However, there were those who were confident that this is going to be different. And the police would rather shoot themselves on the foot if they try to play prank with people. So last week, Sam Larry returned back to Nigeria. People said probably he's got a deal with the police. Who knows? Before then, a young nurse was arrested. She's Feyishayo Ogedengbe. Now, she was the first person to be arrested because she was the one who administered three dosage of injections, which the police later discovered to be a very, very strong, pain stimulant or whatever. I'll play you their report. But last week, that Sam Larry returned back to Nigeria. And just this week, Naira Marley himself returned back to Nigeria. And just about 3 days ago, or 4 days ago, the same Nigeria police declared another person suspect, Prime Boy. Now that Prime Boy, the reason why the police said they declared him wanted was because he was actually the one who had the last fight with Mohbad in Ikorodu. Before Mohbad returned back to his Lekki house, where they called on Feyishayo, is that Feyishayo? Yes. Where they called fake nurse Feyishayo to come and check on him because he wasn't feeling well. And then she applied 3 injections on him until he completely gave up the ghost. But I am going to play the police report. It is just for the record purpose. Now, I have seen it. Some of you probably have seen it as well. However, for those who haven't, we can all watch it together now. And you can begin to form your own opinion based on the information these guys have to release. They exhumed the body of Mohbad for autopsy. The full toxicology report or full autopsy report are not yet out. But from from interrogation, interview, investigation, they have come to the conclusion that Naira Marley, Sam Larry, Feyishayo Ogedengbe, and then Prime Boy. They are prime suspects in the death of Mohbad. It is now being treated as an homicide, as they said. It's been treated as homicide. But the main and the real suspect for now is Feyishayo Ogedengbe, the nurse. I know some of you have said before that they are likely going to have to throw the nurse under the bus. Well, I want you to listen to their reports before you probably will check if your projection is all coming together or not. I'm not saying you should believe the police, but this is their report. Let's take it from there. Yeah, here.
The end goal of this initiative is not only to unravel the circumstances of the singer's death, but to deliver justice for Mohbad. I had, while inaugurating the special investigation team, projected a 2-week timeline for the perfection of the police interim investigation report, with the assurance that members of the public will be kept abreast of investigative progress as much as legally and professionally permissible. I can today confirm that the police interim investigation report is now ready, and this media briefing is being undertaken in fulfillment of our assurances to keep Lagosians, Nigerians, and indeed the international community abreast of the status of the case. This briefing therefore focuses on police investigative actions since the investigation commenced, the interim findings on the strength of facts and of evidential value so far established, and grounds pending further actions in guiding the investigation to conclusion. The investigation process was directed at addressing 2 fundamental questions. Firstly, what are the immediate chain of events that occasioned the death of Mohbad? Secondly, who are the actors that could, within the context of extant criminal law and procedures, be evidentially held criminally liable, either individually or jointly, for the death of Mohbad on 12 September 2023. In addressing the latter components of these questions, due investigative actions were focused on the allegations of possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Abdulaziz Adeshina, aka Naira Marley, and Samson Erinfolami Balogun, aka Sam Larry, who both were widely alleged in the social media of conspiring to serially bully and assault the deceased in his lifetime. It also focuses on allegations of the social media that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency could be complicit in his death, following a viral video in which the late singer raised the narrative of his experience while in custody of the agency prior to his death. The intent of this component of the investigation is to establish if there is any evidential proof to circumstantially or directly link the allegations against Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and NDLA to the eventual death of Mohbad on 12 September 2023. Police investigative actions. Following the inauguration of the Special Investigation Team, detectives have undertaken the following actions and covered the underlisted investigative grounds. 1. Identification and interview of vital witnesses. As at today, a total of 26 vital witnesses, including the complainant, have so far been identified and interviewed, and statements recorded by detectives from them in aid of investigations. These include the following: Mr. Aloba Joseph Oluwabamiwo, the father of the deceased; Mrs. Abosede Aloba, mother of the deceased; Mrs. Kolawole Kemi Bose, deceased sister; Mr. Miss Aloba Blessing Oluwashew, deceased sister. Mr. Aloba Adura Ageni Shedrack, deceased brother. Mrs. Cynthia Adebanjo, deceased wife. Miss Sheyi Awonuga, deceased manager. Miss Adeyemo Boluwatife, aka Darosha, deceased personal assistant. Mr. Ajishegiri Sultan Ayobami, deceased DJ. Olanrewaju Idris Adedoja, deceased personal photographer. Mr. Idris Busari, deceased friend. Aderinto Ademola, aka Ade West, deceased friend. Mr. Adeyemi Olamide, deceased friend. Oladapo Oreoluwa, aka Lifestyle, deceased friend. Adesoya Adebiyi Dolapo, aka Ajay Singh, deceased friend. Fidelis Esabon is the driver to the Prado Jeep that the deceased hired to attend the concert in Ikorodu on 10 September 23, and in an attempt to punch Ibrahim during their physical brawl, Mohbad hit and broke the rear side glass, causing him injury on his right hand. For those of you that would be interested in, can look at the picture. That's a picture of the vehicle, the damage that led to the injury on Mohbad. Yeah, you can circulate. Mr. Soso Soberekon is the show promoter who invited Mohbad to perform at Ikorodu to promote his product, the General Bitters, on the night of 10 September 23, where the fight that led to the injury and subsequent chains of events started from. He has given detailed statements. Mr. Omoni Temidayo Raphael, aka Zlatan, he was one of the musicians that performed at the same event in Ikorodu on that night. Engineer Chinaka Jesse is the deceased neighbor whose vehicle was used to rush him to the hospital when he became unconscious. Dr. Olushola Joshua is the medical director of Kuramed Hospital in Lekki, Lagos, where the deceased was taken to and declared as confirmed as brought in dead on 12th September 2023. Dr. Beke Deborah Oluwatosin is a medical director who was on duty, and he was one that certified the deceased dead on the day he was brought in at about 15-20 hours. Ms. Fajulube Semitope, Ms. Abbas Aminat Abiola, and Mr. Oluwajobi Emmanuel. They are all staff of Kuramed Hospital who also witnessed when he was brought in dead. Dr. Owuala Chigoze is the director and CMD of Perez Medical Care in Lekki. When they took him to the first hospital, the Kuramed, and he was certified dead, his family members and friends that took him there were not convinced. So they took the body from there again to Perez Hospital, where he was recertified as dead. Then Dr. Temitope Maxine Olumuyiwa.
None. Like I said, it is for our own record here. So you can say, okay, well, this is what they said. And then you can compare them to what you know, not just what you heard too, okay? Then maybe we can begin to form real opinion on where this is headed. This is the part where the role played by each one of them that finally lead to what they believe is death, right? This is the part.
residence in Lekki. She eventually came on Tuesday, 12 September 2023, and administered 3 different injections, which are believed to have occasioned the chain of reactions that directly resulted in the eventual death of the singer. She is the principal suspect in the death of Mohbad. She acknowledged that it was the injections that she administered on the deceased that triggered the reactions which eventually led to Mohbad's death. Other expert opinions and witnesses' statements corroborated her admittance. Her actions of administering doses of tetanus toxoid, paracetamol, intravenous, and cetrazone injection, which was also administered intravenous on Mohbad at his residence, that's Mohbad's residence, on 12 September 2023, immediately triggered the reactions, including vomiting, goosebumps, and convulsion, that eventually resulted in the singer's death. This criminal liability is further heightened, granted the evidential fact that as an auxiliary nurse, she is not qualified to administer such medications or function as a qualified nurse. She also did this in a non-clinical environment and in a professionally negligent manner that negated standard medical protocols. 2. Mr. Yobami Sodiq, aka Spending. Sodiq is a friend to Mohbad who invited the auxiliary nurse to treat the deceased. He's been suspected of conspiracy in the death of the singer. His action in inviting a person known to him as an auxiliary nurse to attend to the deceased under a non-clinical setting occasioned Mohbad's death. He's being held for conspiracy to commit felony. Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owoduni, aka Prime Boy. He's a childhood friend of Mohbad. He attended the show at Ikorodu in Mohbad's company on 10 September 2023. At the end of the show, Mohbad and Ibrahim were engaged in a violent fight, during which Mohbad was injured. The management of the injury subsequently resulted in his death. So he's being treated as a suspect. Samson Balogun Eletu, aka Sam Larry, is a suspect who was arrested on allegation of being complicit in the death, as well as in relation to the videos that have gone viral about bullying and assaults, which in some quarters we believe perhaps had any link with his eventual death. He was arrested, he's still in detention. Abdulaziz Fashola, aka Naira Marley, was also arrested and is still currently in detention for similar allegations. Other actions that have been undertaken by the Special Investigation Team include exhumation, autopsy, and toxicology tests, which were undertaken on 21st September 2023. The results of the autopsy and the toxicology tests are being awaited.
So, for those who are in custody, they mentioned others and all of that. But I just want to jump over them quick. Here is another part, interesting part of their supposed police report. Listen.
And the death of Mohbad. Sequence of events directly accounting for the death of Mohbad. Based on investigation, this represents the sequence of events that eventually culminated in his death. On 10th September 2023, Ireoluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, attended a musical concert at Ikorodu Town Hall at about 21:00 hours on the invitation of one Soso Soberecon, to promote the General Bitters beverages, which is marketing. Mohbad arrived at the venue of the event at about 1900 hours in company of his wife, Mrs. Cynthia Omowumi Adebanjo, and their 5-month-old baby. His childhood friend, Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owodunni Prime Boy, and Mohbad's personal assistant, Adebayo Adeyemo Boluwatife, alias Darosa, all of whom were in the Prado Jeep, which was hired by Mohbad for the event and driven by Felix Esambo. Others that accompany Mohbad in separate vehicles include Ayobami Sadiq, Spending, Aduragbe Nishedra Kaloba, who is the younger brother of Mohbad, Ajisegiri Sultan Ayobami, Mohbad's DJ, Aderinto Fawaz Ademola Adewest, Mohbad's friend, and Olanrewaji Indris Adedoja, alias OG, his photographer. Other musical acts that performed along with Mohbad at the show included Zlatan, Seun Kuti, and DJ Fokati. At the end of his performance at about 2300 hours, as he made to exit the venue with his entourage, he discovered that his vehicle had been blocked by other vehicles while some of his fans and area boys also moved in. Mohbad, who from witnesses' evidence was said to be tipsy and hyperactive, became infuriated, and as he attempted to come down to clear the road, Ibrahim, his friend, prevailed on him not to do so for his personal safety. This further infuriated Mohbad, and it eventually degenerated into a hot argument between the two of them and physical fights. In the course of an attempt by Mohbad to hit Ibrahim with a blow, Mohbad missed him and smashed his hand against the window of their Prado Jeep, causing him an injury on his forehand, and he bled profusely. Eventually, the situation was brought under control, and they all departed for the Lekki residence of Mohbad, excluding Ibrahim. Upon arrival at home at about 0200 hours of 11 September 2023, Mohbad refused to go to the hospital to treat his injury, despite persistent persuasion by his wife, staffs, and friends, including the Prado Jeep driver, whose vehicle was damaged. Later in the day, the injured hand, which was still bleeding on the second day, started getting swollen, causing Mohbad unbearable pains. This is the injury. You also pass it. How it got swollen by the second day. So at this point, his friend Ayobami Sadiq, Spending, who noticed the increasing pains, further insisted that he must go to the hospital for treatment. Mohbad still resisted and opted to call his personal nurse, identified as Nurse Fumi, who unfortunately was not available. At this point, Ayobami Sadiq, Spending, offered to call his own nurse to attend to Mohbad. That nurse turned out to be the auxiliary nurse, Ms. Feisayo Ogedenge. His suggestion.
You're following that? So the summary of all of that is that Mohbad had a fight with his friend because their car or his car was blocked by kind of other cars at the venue where he just performed. Then he smashed his hand through the window of the car when he was trying to kind of punch his friend. So by so doing, he smashed the window and it got caught and he started bleeding. So he bleeded so much that he rejected medical treatment for 2 days. And according to the police, probably with the corroboration of his staff, his wife, if we follow what the police just said, right? His wife and his staff, and then some of his friends asked him, or they were begging him for 2 days to go to the hospital, and he refused. Unfortunately, he's not here. That sounded off to me. I'm sorry that I don't have the intention of planting doubt in your mind, okay? But that stage, that part, just offed me at that point. Okay, so he's not here. And I want to believe that the police, they are reporting what his wife and his friends and his, what do you call it, people around him, told the police that he didn't accept to go to the hospital for 2 days until the hand was swollen, still bleeding, and they had to call somebody to come and treat him at home. That sounded off to me, but this is the concluding part where the police now said they have a probable cause to continue to hold these people, the suspect they have in custody. But the picture seems to be becoming clearer that Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and especially Naira Marley and Sam Larry would only be charged for bullying and assault. Okay, so but the nurse that has made a confessional statement that it was what she gave him that triggered what later happened and then the death, right? I'm sorry if it is becoming boring to you, okay? We just have to do this. Let's leave this on here, all right? The concluding part, where the police now said what they want to do, please.
A short meeting resolved to move the body to Ikorodu for burial, which was done the following day, 13 September 2023, at about 14:00 hours. This is the narrative. Now, allegations of bullying, assault, and possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Sam Larry and Naira Marley. During investigation, series of allegations of bullying, threat to life, and possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Naira Marley and Sam Larry were raised from various quarters. This prompted the Special Investigation Team to widen the scope of their investigation to that aspect. Several videos touching on the allegations were analyzed and witnesses were interviewed. Many of the witnesses earlier listed, as the 26 witnesses, many of them alleged that the deceased was indeed bullied and assaulted several times by Naira Marley and Sam Larry and their gangs. It was affirmed that sometime in 2019, the deceased was allegedly signed by Naira Marley into a record label known as Malian Music Limited. Due to disagreement in terms of the contract, the deceased pressed for the revocation of his contractual relationship with Malian Music, while also pushing to relieve his then manager, who was a brother to Naira Marley. It was alleged that these moves eyed the suspects, who in consequence allegedly severally conspired, bullied, and assaulted the deceased. It was also asserted by some witnesses with corroborative video evidence that before his demise, Mohbad had raised alarm that his life was being threatened, that he was being bullied and assaulted by Naira Marley and Sam Larry. Upon their arrest, Abdulaziz Abdeshinon Fashola Naira Marley and Samson Erinfolani Balogun Sam Larry denied allegations of complicity in the death of Mohbad by pleading an alibi that they were both out of the country when the incident occurred, and they were not in any manner involved in the chain of events that occasions his eventual death between 10th to 12th September 2023. However, there are preponderance of evidence linking both Naira Marley and Sam Larry to the allegations of threat to life, cyber stalking, and sundry crimes committed against Mohbad in his lifetime, and they are being so held liable. Interim investigations, interim findings. From investigations so far conducted, it has been established as follows. 1. The chain of events that directly and specifically led to the death of Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, occurred between 10th to 13th September 2023, and the location of incidents stretched over Ikorodu and Lekki, Lagos. Feyisayo Ogedengbe, female, who as an auxiliary nurse administered multiple and highly potent injections, which triggered an immediate reaction that eventually occasioned the death of Mohbad, is the principal suspect in the homicide case. Feyisayo Ogedengbe is not a qualified registered nurse, and her illegal and medical negligence are believed to have been directly responsible for the chain reactions and eventual death of Mohbad at 15:43 hours on 12 September 2023. The time within which auxiliary nurse Ogedengbe administered the injections on Mohbad, through his reactions, convulsion, and eventual death, is confirmed to be within less than an hour, covering from 1440 hours when the principal suspect administered the sets of injection and 1543 hours when Mohbad was confirmed dead at Kuramed Hospital. Aside her admittance to the consequences of her actions, the report of the medical panel that reviewed auxiliary nurse Feyisayo's actions concluded that she went beyond her limitations as an auxiliary nurse by administering intravenously cetrazone on the deceased, and that this, from their review, was the most likely cause of the anaphylactic reaction, which could have been promptly resolved and his death possibly prevented if the disease was treated in the hospital. Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owoduni Prime Boy is also considered as complicit in the chain of events that led to the eventual death of Mohbad, as the injury that culminated in actions which led to his death was sustained in the course of physical combat between him and Mohbad. Ayobami Sodiq Splendid is also considered complicit in the homicide case for inviting Feyisayo Ogedengbe, whom he knew to be an unqualified and unregistered nurse, to administer the potent medications that eventually triggered reactions leading to Mohbad's death. While Abdulaziz Fashola, Naira Marley, and Samson Balogun Sam Larry denied allegations of criminal liability in the death of Mohbad and pleaded an alibi to justify their not being complicit in the incidents that occurred from 10 to 12 September 2023. There are ample electronic and credible witnesses evidence linking them to cyberbullying and cyberstalking, threat to life, assaults, occasioning harm, and conduct likely to cause breach of the peace against the deceased in his lifetime, following their roles in the incidents that occurred at the Chandelier Club and Elegushi Beach in June 2023, as well as the alleged assaults on Mohbad in October 2022 around the residence of Naira Marley at Lekki. Sam Larry admitted that he had multiple physical confrontations with Mohbad to get him to refund the 2 million naira which he claimed he paid to the late singer for a show which he claimed he did not honor. There are documentary evidence, international travel records, confirming that both Abdulaziz Fashola, Naira Marley, and Samson Balogun, Eletu, Sam Larry, were not in Lagos, Nigeria, when the events that directly led to Mohbad's death occurred between 10th to 12th September 2023. While Naira Marley was out of the country from